tactical pads and drills that the NCAA has placed. Skowski told me a couple weeks ago he didn't expect things to be much different for y'all, but what about like your drills as far as the wind drill and the paw drill? Yep. Is going to be adjusted at all?
Yeah, I don't know. They must have stolen my practice schedule for the last 12 years. Yeah, when that all came out, I think a lot of coaches were like, "What?" And what they legislated is what we've been doing around here forever, with the exception of we've always done 3 scrimmages. We've done 2 true scrimmages, and one of them was a situation. And then the third one was all situational. So we'll still do the situational day, but it'll be all thud. And then I think it's 75 minutes of tackle. Not counting your scrimmages. I have never ever had a practice of 75 minutes of tackle. Like the most we've ever been live is maybe 30 minutes. On a 50-50 type day. So they said you got to have, I can't even remember what it is, 7 days in shorts. I think last year we did 9 or 10 days. And that's the same that's been for 12 years around here. So the only adjustment for us is they specifically said we can't do paw drill. So. The wind drill is that's a totally different deal. That's within the rules. But the paw drill, which to me is the safest drill we do. We don't ever get anybody hurt in paw drill. We get guys hurt in shorts. But that's the rule that was put forth, and so you got to do 11-on-11 type stuff to get what you need. You can't do 3-on-3. The old Oklahoma drill, what we've called paw drill forever and ever and ever. So. That's the only adjustment. That, and then the third situational scrimmage will be all thud. It'll just be a situational practice. But other than that, there's really no adjustments for us at all. Pretty simple.
Where are you guys with your vaccination, and are you still going to do any of the COVID protocol protection stuff that you had to do last
year? We're right there at that 85%. I want to say we're 83, 84%. We got a couple more guys that I think are planning to get vaccinated this weekend. So we're in a really good spot. So I'm proud of our guys. I'm proud of our team and how they've responded. But absolutely, we've got good protocols in place from, again, I don't want to call anybody out, but if you got a whole position group and you only got one guy that's not vaccinated, well, you're no big deal there. But if you got one position group and there's 12 and 8 of them are vaccinated, you just want to make sure that you have to mitigate that properly. So, but we're in a good spot. Guys have done a really good job, and excited to get going.
Dabo, what strides have you seen out of DJ Uiagalelei as he kind of hits it at camp?
I just think this time last year he was. Had not had a camp yet. He had not been a part of a game, week, and how we prepare for a game week, all that stuff. He's been there, done that now, and he had a chance to have a front row seat to Trevor all year, and I think that has served him well. He's just mentally in a different place, and he was way ahead last year from a typical freshman, but his whole mindset is different. His maturity, his leadership role, all those things. I've seen him assert himself a lot better. He's stronger. He's in great shape. I was messing with him yesterday. I called him Little Cinco. I told him if he was anywhere in the 4s, he'd be Little Cinco. If he gets back in the 5s, he goes back to Big Cinco. So, but he's excited about the opportunity, and we are too.
Dabo, in terms of talking about the vaccination rate, in terms of protocols for the players, are you emphasizing, being careful, we're around, trying to make sure you are available for practice, and obviously going into the season for games?
Yeah, listen, what they say, the best ability is availability, right? So the one thing we have this year that we didn't have last year is a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge in dealing with this, and we didn't have that last year. Number one, and number two, we didn't have a vaccine. So thankful for that, and our guys have a much better understanding that hey, this is what can happen if you don't do those things that you're talking about there. So we've been spending the last 18 months talking about those things.
Now, what's next for Andrew Booth? Obviously, we've seen the crazy highlight reel that he is, but what do
Availability. That's it. Just be there. Just be there every week. You know, that's the only thing that's kept him from really kind of, you know, I mean, you see it. I mean, and we see it at practice, and you've seen it on game day, but just consistency in his availability. You know, it's a tough game, and he's had some nagging injuries along the way that have limited his consistency. So that's really it. Just availability, week in, week out.
Dabo, you talked about Justin being cleared. Where's his headspace at? Is he in a good place after such a serious injury?
He's been in a good headspace for quite a while. I think he's just been more frustrated with the process, you know, because, you know, he's been cleared by his doctor for a while, but, you know, you can understand the complicated medical issue. There's a huge process, and you want to make sure that you do everything right. But he's so happy. He's ecstatic. But he's disappointed that he's not here today. I can tell you that. But again, he's good, and it's like I told him. I said, well, you'll be you waited 18 months. You make it a few more days. So, but he's been in the meetings and zooming in and all that stuff. But, and we know what he can do. So we've got a great plan for him. You know, he did everything all spring except get tackled. He wore pads and helmets and shoulder pads. He's bumped and grind all summer long with the skills and drills. You know, but his mentality, he's been ready a long time in his mind.
What about Malcolm Green coming off the shoulder injury? Is he going to go ready to go?
He looks great. He looks great. That's what I told him. I don't know if y'all saw the video of him diving through the. I think he was racing Trenton Simpson. I don't know if y'all saw that. And, you know, he left his feet and dove. I said, well, I guess he's fine. No caution there. So he looks great, looks awesome. Lysander, same thing. Those guys look great. Again, we're in a really good spot right now. We got 2 or 3 guys that'll be in green today that we're just kind of protecting them. I mean, everybody's in short, so it doesn't mean a whole lot today. But other than just we're kind of having some caution with them for a day or so.
Dabo, for the first-year guys, what's the biggest adjustment that you see that they have to take in those first couple of weeks of preseason camp?
Yeah, learn how to take care of their bodies. You know, they got to learn how to prepare. It's a lot. I mean, they're up in installation meetings right now, and it's a bunch coming at them. So learn how to take care of their bodies, learn how to prepare, take notes, you know, manage their time, and then how to practice. They got to learn how to practice. You know, they got to learn, you know, how to practice the right way and create the type of habits and push themselves, because that's what shows up on game day.
Dabo, it's been a pretty remarkable recovery for Tyson. What's gone into his rehab that's allowed him to bounce back so quickly?
Well, I'd say first of all, I guess you just got to give the good Lord a little credit and his mom and dad for good genetics. That's first thing I'd say. The second thing is you know, our medical team's done an amazing job with him, and the third thing is he's put the work in. His work ethic, his determination, his attitude, his consistency, his relentless pursuit of getting back.
It's been a pretty chaotic 30, 45 days in college football with NIL, expansion talk, what's happening with the SEC. Have you gotten your head around everything that's gone on, and what do you see is going to be like the next domino to fall in this thing? Is the SEC going to gobble up all of college football? Big 12 going to die? I mean, what do you foresee happening?
You don't know. That sounds like something somebody call in on your radio show and talk about. But you know, next domino for me is practice at 4:30. You know, and 30 days from now, we got an opportunity to achieve our first goal, and that's to win the opener. That's it. That's all I control. The rest of that, there's been enough said about that stuff from our end.
On the knee injury, Dabo, what's the difference between back in the day when you played and now the recovery time? Is it the medical advances that went on?
Yeah.
You got guys like Amari that turned around and did the same thing a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and then we
I got one here. Still, 40 years into it, it's still there.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question the advancements in procedures is one thing. I mean, procedures aren't near as invasive today than they used to be. And, you know, just like anything, the techniques, the advancements in research and knowledge, I think, you know, changes everything. You had an ACL, you know, back when I was playing, it was different. So I think we're all blessed from great research and a bunch of smart doctors and techniques that have been shared and so forth, and knowledge has been gained through other people. So we've just got a great team of people that work hard, but ultimately it comes down to that individual and you know, how hard they're willing to work. Certainly everybody's body responds differently to surgeries and so forth. So, you know, just thankful. I mean, Deshaun Watson and what he did, you know, it was incredible. I'll never forget that.
Played on.
Yeah.
What are you looking to see out of Tristan Lee during sort of the course of the season?
Well, I mean, obviously he's a big physical kid. You know, he's at a start. This is just a starting point for him, and you know, the biggest thing I'm looking for is how quick can he learn what to do. You know, physically, he's got some natural attributes. He's nowhere near what he's going to be, you know, a year from now, 2 years from now, 6 months from now, as he gets, you know, into the strength conditioning program and just the holistic approach that we have here. But the main thing right out of the gate is, you know, where's his head? You know, I think the physical part will come pretty easy to him. If you watch him play, that's like one of his greatest attributes. But when you load these guys down, all these guys, I always tell these freshmen, were you a better player your senior year, or in some guys this year, they didn't play a senior, your junior year, than your freshman year? And they all go, yeah. And I'm like, well, why is that? Because the game is slower, and when the game slows down, you got a little more swag, you got a little more confidence, you carry yourself a little differently, you anticipate differently, you know the system, you know, you're not thinking, you're just playing ball. And then all those great attributes you have, they go to a higher level. And so, you know, that's the thing about coming into college. You know, it's such an adjustment from a physical standpoint and a mental standpoint and a structure standpoint, and then just what you see day in and day out competitively. It's just so different, and it's a big change. I think physically he's in a good place, but I haven't been in a meeting with him. I haven't watched him after 3 days of installation. I have no idea, you know. So how is he going to manage that? Because you can have all those great attributes, but if you get loaded down with that stuff and it's, you know, it just, some guys process it quicker than others, then all of a sudden you're not playing as confident, you're playing tentative, you're not as physical, you know, at any position on the field. So where is he mentally? That's really the main thing I'm looking for. You know, how quick can he pick things up so that he has a chance to compete?
For a guy like DJ taking over for a guy like Trevor and everything he did and everyone pick, do you worry at all about him trying to put too much pressure on himself? Do you guys have conversations about that at all?
No, I don't. Just because of who DJ is. I mean, he's a very confident kid. He has been a long time. A lot like Trevor, he's been in the spotlight for a long time. And you know, the big stage of high school football, TV, expectations. I mean, he's been there, and shoot, I also have some confidence in what I saw at Notre Dame last year. You know, I mean, he's not really an overwhelmed type of a kid. He may be, but you don't see it. He's like that duck on a pond, right? He just like that all the time. But I don't worry about him. I think he learned a lot from Trevor, and again, I think it's just kind of comes with who he is, if that makes sense.
Coach, in terms of Will Taylor and Billy Wiles picking up the playbook, obviously there's some urgency there. Do you feel like those guys are maybe a little bit ahead of the curve compared to maybe a typical freshman coming in?
Well, not really. I mean, I haven't been in the meetings with them yet. I mean, we've had installation stuff going on through the summer, and they've been out there for skills and drills. But you know, I need to see them live to really give you a fair answer to that. But you know, what I've heard, chit-chat wise, those guys are really, really sharp, which doesn't surprise me. But you know, we'll see when we get out there on the field and the intensity goes up and the speed of the decisions, you know, increase. but I'm excited about those guys being here. Super excited about Will and what I think he brings to the table this year and moving forward.
You've got more functional experience depth across the board this year, but is there a specific position or two that you're looking forward to the competition in camp?
I think there's several of them. I mean, I think we have really good competition across the board. I mean, obviously we've got seven guys who've started on the defensive line, so I would just start there. I think there's going to be a sense of urgency every single rep, because all those guys, they all want to run out there first, and they're all good enough to run out there first. But I don't think they're going to let us run 7 of them out there. I will try, but I don't think they're going to let us do that. So I think that's going to be an incredibly competitive position. I think running backs is going to be incredibly competitive. Linebacker. I think we got a lot of competition there. We got a lot of guys that know how to play. All those guys back in the secondary that now have more experience to draw upon. I think that's going to serve us well. I think we're going to have great competition at receiver. I think this is on paper. I mean, y'all might want to take a picture of that group today. Well, wait till Justin gets back, then take the picture because, man, this is a really talented group, and they're all at different stages as far as where they're going in their careers. But you'll look back on that picture in 6 years, and I think you're going to be pretty impressive with what these guys end up doing if the Lord keeps them healthy. So I think a lot of competition there, and then our OL. I mean, we know who's back from last year, and then the guys that added in this spring and in this summer, and then all those guys who weren't quite ready last year. Now they've had a year under their belt and another spring and a true summer. A lot of them their first summer. It's almost like we got 2 freshman classes because nobody went to class last year. Nobody had a stadium packed. Nobody had normal camp. So we really have kind of 2 freshman groups, kind of learning as we go. But I think there's going to be a ton of competition. But the biggest thing is I love the makeup of the team. We got a lot of seniors and juniors. I've never had 6th-year seniors. We got 6th year, bunch of 5th year to go along with all the 4th year seniors. And man, that's exciting because these guys, they know what it takes. They don't think they know. They know. And I think that's going to serve our team well. And then all of a sudden you got a great group of sophomores, and then you got some redshirt freshmen, and then I think there's 33 new freshmen. What do we have? 18, 19 signees, and then a bunch of new walk-ons that came in here with them. So it's a really good group with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of hunger, and I think the biggest thing is when you got guys come back for 6 years and 5th years, they usually don't come back with being casual. They're back with a purpose and a focus, and they want to finish well.
You mentioned the 6 years, the guys coming back on the defensive line and the depth. When Justin decided to come back and XT decided to come back, what did you think and what the decision-making process was for them, and how much of an asset is that with those guys coming back and bringing their experience in?
Yeah, well, XT, he decided back in December or January, he obviously was not anywhere near where he needed to be to maximize his opportunity. Somebody probably would have drafted him, but it wouldn't have been anywhere, near what he's capable of. And so you talk about a guy I'm super proud of. I mean, that guy was 294 pounds at his peak, if you will, and he's 264. I mean, it's incredible. He's been incredibly focused all since January. I mean, he really. I mean, we sat down and we talked and we met and kind of laid out where he is and. I mean, what he needs to do, and man, he's exceeded all those things, and he's just got a great look in his eye. I know he's really proud of himself, and what a difference a year makes for that young man, and I think that will serve him well for the rest of his life. What he's been through, what he's overcome. And again, it's always not what we become; it's what we overcome along the way, and what he's overcome to get to where he is today. I'm just really proud of him. I'm really proud of him, and I mean, you think about going and playing football with a 30-pound weight vest on and doing all the things that you normally do. So he's probably going to show up quick when we get out there. He'll probably look like the XT that I've always known, and he's just in a different place from a maturity standpoint. And then Justin, he was gone and had no intentions coming back. It's not like we called him or anything. He called me in May, and said, "You remember that conversation that Woody?" Thinking he wanted to come back, and the team loves him. And same thing, he was not in a good place, and now where he is now, and I'm just really proud of him as well. So those two guys, they bring experience, and they're both hungry. They both want to finish well, and then you throw in KJ and Maskell. KJ's fourth year, Maskell's fourth year. Those guys are, man, these guys aren't rookies. I mean, we got a lot of competition there. It's kind of similar to that 2014 defense that we had. We were rolling. I mean, we're rolling Vic and Shaq and Dodd and Crawford and Tavares and all them dudes, and then you got Grady and Reeder and Carlos and all these guys rolling in and out of there. Deshaun Williams, and they can all play. And so that's a good place to start for us, and having their leadership and maturity is going to serve us well.
Dabo, are there any players or